And we're back inside the hotel. Dio steps into the atrium, spear in hand. In the center, Mortimer is standing there. He's actually a fairly small man, um, with green eyes and long blonde hair, uh, wearing a. He's just wearing like jeans and a t-shirt. Doesn't put too much effort into his appearance. Uh, Along the sides of the atrium, strung up on the walls, going 3, 4 stories up, are just dead bodies hung spread eagle. You look around and you see the bodies of Edward and uh, Jacob and
Bang.
Bang and Rem and the people that you were looking for originally. You see the body of Julian. You see his acolytes. All told, there are about 100 bodies. Some dead, some alive, but all strung up around the hall in a.
Some are still alive.
Yes.
Okay, but they're on the ground floor, right?
No, they're strung up, hung from the walls. Actually, they're suspended by magic.
Okay. Shit, that kind of messes up my plan. Yeah, are like the alive ones in any specific place or just randomly with the
Yeah,
others?
just randomly interspersed. Yeah.
Shit, there goes my plan. Hey asshole, told you I'd come for you. I got a big score to settle with you.
Mortimer just looks at you and smiles and says, "What can you possibly do to me?"
Let's find out. I take out one of the ball thingies.
Sure.
The explosive. Remind me again. Those explode on contact, do they?
The ones
They
that
definitely
you
hit.
have thrown did.
I'm gonna throw one hard against the glass ceiling right above him.
Alright, you throw one hard against the glass ceiling right above him. It breaks. Yeah, so you just throw this ball above him. The glass on the ceiling shatters as the ball explodes in a cloud of soot and smoke, and the glass falls. And Mortimer just looks up and it stops and levitates in the air.
I'm gonna throw another one, like not at him,
Yeah.
but right in front of. Is he sitting in a circle?
Sorry?
Is he sitting in a circle?
Since
No.
he's doing a
No,
ritual.
no,
and
he's not.
everything.
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw like right in front of him, so it hits the ground in front of him. Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then dash at him.
Alright, you throw it at the ground in front of him, you get dash at him. He, meanwhile, as you're running and you look up, and he is forming the shards of glass into a spear, and he thrusts it from above down at you, directly at your heart. And from the wall, one of the bodies explodes in a shower of mist and blood and gore. You are being
I'm gonna
attacked
try
by
to
a
dodge.
giant spear of glass.
Okay, I'm gonna try to dodge out of the way.
Sure, you dodge to your left and the spear just, like, barely misses you. It pulls back in the air and recovers. You are within 5 feet of Mortimer, so how are you going to attack him?
Wait,
The spear is. Go on.
I imagine that Mortimer is sort of focused on the spear and controlling it. I imagine.
Hard to tell.
I would really not recommend you running at his face right now.
Alrighty then. Move on.
How far is the spear away from me?
It's in the air above him. It is about 30 feet long, and he has been moving it very quickly.
Is there any debris near me? Like any garbage cans, anything I can
No.
hold on to?
No. It's just you, a spear, and Mortimer with a spear.
Okay, I'm gonna like run carefully at him, like running but still maintaining the eye on the spear, trying.
Sure,
like,
sure.
Yeah.
All right, you close your distance carefully. He sort of
One quick question. Sorry.
yeah.
Is the spear made like? Is it just shards of glass
It's
generally?
shards of glass pushed together into the shape of the spear, and it's a shape
Okay.
that's perfectly mimicking yours.
Okay, but it's not like it's not a. It's basically just a bunch of glass shards
Yes.
of glass together. So like I can't. If I hold it, I'm gonna cut myself.
Yeah, you would be grabbing
Okay.
shards of glass.
Okay. Like you didn't compress them into an actual
No.
object.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on. What was you saying? Sorry.
All right, yeah. So you close in distance with him. You've got your spear ready, sort of low, not defensively, but sort of in a neutral state. He brings the spear directly down and tries to smash you from above.
I'm gonna try to like. It's coming right this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sort of spin around it,
Okay.
and with the back of my spear, push it backwards, while with the blade, go for his neck.
Okay. You. Mortimer smiles as you spin around the spear. You push your own backwards, and it does connect with the shaft of his weapon, but it doesn't connect hard because, like, it literally just pushes the shards out of the way. You stab him in the neck, and it slices open, cutting his artery. He's smiling as his head sort of
Yeah.
drops to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
And you do deal a deadly wound to him. As the spear hits the ground, the glass shatters and explodes outwards. Your back is just pelted with shards of glass, and you take a surface wound. And
Okay.
there's just, like, basically the spear hits the ground, and it just explodes outwards.
Frag grenade style.
Yeah, but it's constant because it like goes into the ground from bottom to top. So
Okay.
it's more like someone pouring a bucket of water on like tile, right? Like it's just this spray of glass.
Quick question. Sorry, this is a technical question.
Sure.
If whatever I use miracles from.
Oh, and
the
how much
weapons we
effort
have,
did you put into your strike?
What would I need to actually do the deadly wound?
Probably 3. 2.
Sure, let's go.
Because you
with three.
can't spend 3.
Okay, let's go with 2.
Wait, all right, 6. Yeah, sweet.
Holy shit, that was just 2? What the hell?
Yeah.
Okay, the miracle magic that I can use from the weapons, would he be vulnerable to that? Or is it still okay. Okay, I get it.
I don't.
We don't know. It's do it and find out. Basically, that's the thing.
All right.
No, I think
So-
this is a good time for me to jump in.
Up to you. Like I've told you what I think we should
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
but you are on your own here. Like
I
I'm
mean-
fighting the dude. I have
So
shards
is he,
of
like,
glass on my ass.
knocked down now after that engagement? Mortimer?
Sorry?
Is he like knocked down?
No.
Like,
No.
No, just that-
His neck knits back together as he just stares Dio in the face.
So I'm gonna
Okay.
walk up the steps, take my hand with my ring on it like this,
Yeah.
and use 4 points of will and draw it back like this. Like you see, like that,
Yeah.
and say, "Surprise, motherfucker!" And
Are,
shoot.
are from behind or from the front?
I guess it would be from the front if he's facing the door.
Sure.
I
and
would
you're
come
using
from behind. There's glass behind him.
Yeah, but we're not on that side.
Run around.
Oh,
Albatross is
good.
probably too lazy to run around, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. True enough. Go.
I want
Alright.
to hit him right here.
Yeah, alright, so you're aiming for his head, you spend 4 points of will, and you just shoot this, like, bolt of lightning? You're shooting lightning?
Yes, I guess it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're shooting this bolt of lightning, sort of like surrounded by a spiral of fire that just drills directly into his skull. He sort of... You know what he does is as this bolt of lightning is streaking towards him, he like reaches up his hands with both hands and pulls down the bodies of Jacob, Rem, Feng, and Edward and just lines them up in front of the bolt. You can take action right now and change what you do.
Okay, while that's happening, and he's
Yeah.
focusing on that, he's still re-knitting his head, right?
And no, it just reknits really quick. It's just sort of like...
Shit.
Yeah.
How close am I to him? Like,
You're within 5 feet. You're very close.
okay, can I go for a stab? Like, straight at his heart.
Yes.
Okay, I go for a stab. Well, while he's focusing... Well,
How
he's
many
trying
points
to-
of will?
I'm just going for a normal stab, like nothing. Just my athletics, I guess, which is 2, I think.
Okay. You go to stab straight at his heart, and he just like looks down at you and just taps your weapon out of the way.
And he like... He taps it visually, but it goes really strong, or
Yeah,
he just sort of
yeah.
dodges it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just goes, and your spear just goes, bam, and like embeds in the ground.
Alright, so I'm still outside.
Yes.
So I'm sort of outside the window, sort of hiding behind all the corpses he has there.
Yes.
See that Dio is in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, since my spells can be really long range, I'll just sort of like punch the ground and make vines appear, like really thick vines.
Yeah.
Really thick ones appear and like just sort of thick and really sharp.
Okay.
And I just want them to like not even wrap around him, but just sort of like go all through his torso and like skull. I just want them to like...
So you're just basically like pumping his body full of vines.
Yes, and I want it to be a level 9. I have my 5-pointer in shadow summoning, and I
Alright.
have 4 points of will. And I want it to fucking do damage, okay?
All right. So before we resolve this, so Albatross fires this bolt of like thunder and fire, and the 4 bodies of his former comrades are just lined up in front of it. Do you do anything when you see this? Like, what does Albatross do?
I guess he just grimaces because there's nothing he really can do to stop it. At this
Well, there are
point,
things you could do.
I guess.
You do have
There
control
are things
over it,
I could
suppose.
do. I could like make one of the vines just fucking flap their bodies away from the
Yeah.
arrow, so the arrows hit.
I just had a great idea. Can I channel magic through my bow still, or no?
Sure. What are you trying to do?
I will try to use my wind power to fly the bodies away.
All right. Yeah. You use.
I thought you were gonna do a magic missile thing.
Homing missiles, man. Like,
You
That would.
You know what you do is like the bolt of fire that's circling around the lightning just sort of like blasts forward and in the air turns into wind and just like buffets these bodies out of the way and
Yeah.
just like creates enough room for the lightning bolt to streak past them and bend as it strikes into Mortimer's head. And the lightning like streaks into his head as the shadows from Illyria, or the vines from Illyria, pump out of the ground and like force themselves in through his legs and like wind through his body. And the lightning bolt just like lights him up, and you see these shadow vines inside of him. And he actually screams in pain. He just bursts into flame, is what he does.
Okay, but he's still a body. He's still alive, basically.
Yeah, no, there's still a person inside of him. He has just
Okay.
lit himself on fire.
Okay. How stuck is my spear? Like, can I just pull it out easily,
you can
or
pull
do
it
I
out.
need to?
You can pull it out.
okay, I just want to take a second to make sure we're doing this right.
Yeah.
A mortal wound, 2, like,
Two deadly wounds, two deadly wounds, then a serious wound, then 2 surface wounds.
How many does he have?
He has so far taken a deadly wound because you haven't like confirmed the damage with the vines and the lightning bolt.
Okay.
Like I feel like you've got him, but like someone has to like finish that move.
That'll be me then.
Like breaker. I don't know. I feel like killer instinct or something.
He's entangled, right? He can't move.
Yeah, I mean he's lit himself on fire and he's burning his way out. But yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna use my Okay, I can't use 2 things together, right?
What do you mean?
Okay, I wanted to basically go for a cool move, which is the spear is on the ground.
Mhm.
I'm gonna basically turn around, pull it out of the ground, and then sort of do a spin and
Okay.
slash him in half, like vertically,
Yeah.
with a fiery spear.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna use. Would that apply my pyromancery because of the fire on the sword? Because I want to like be a fire blade that cuts him in half, right?
Yeah, dude, you could totally do that. How many points of will do you spend?
Well, I have 5. I'm gonna use 2 more for 7, or
You have 6.
Yeah, you have 6.
6, yeah. Wait,
So, how many points of will are you spending? 1, 2, or 4?
I'm gonna go for 2. So it's a level 6, yeah.
All
So
right.
level 6 spell.
So,
Basically cut him in half with a fire blade.
all right, he is lit himself on fire. His body is like pulsing with electricity as Illyria's vines are inside him, just kind of tearing him apart. And you pull your blade back and you spin it up and you sort of absorb the fire that he's channeling through his body into your spear, and then you pull it down and you cut him right down the middle.
Kunoyaru!
The
Earlier
fire,
face palms, like no.
his entire body just sort of like explodes in a shower of gore, and the vines are like broken. The lightning is dispersed, as is the fire from your spell, and he is I guess,
Not
yeah,
having a
you know,
fun
this explosion leaves a cloud of bloody mist, and when the mist settles, there are 2 Mortimers standing in front of you.
Of course there are. Did he take a deadly wound though?
Yes. 2 deadly
Okay,
wounds.
so 2 deadly wounds.
Yeah.
So we're like halfway there.
You do bleed, motherfucker.
Okay.
He also multiplies like a Hydra, but
That means there's more of him to hit. Right?
I guess.
Okay. Is he just gonna stand there, like grimacing like an idiot?
No, he starts to hover.
That's not good. I take that back. That's
Hovering
not,
is
maybe-
not good.
Okay. Can we take 2 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah, let's
Okay.
take our... You know what? You take your break, and let's talk about what the other people are doing. So go.
Sure.
Go. Alright, so Mortimer starts to hover. What do Albatross and Illyria do? Hovering is never good.
Hovering is never good. Well, I have to say, my vines have been incredibly useful so far. But the thing is, I'll be relying on them to, like, make an instant decision to just inflict a serious wound upon those two. Because I imagine we need to fucking damage both of them.
Right.
So if I just pin him down, because I imagine my vines would be able to do that, since, like...
So you're gonna sort of, like, try and reach up with him and grab him?
How far from the ground is he hovering?
He's about 3 feet up right now, rising quickly.
Rising. Okay. Are there still remnants from my other vines there?
Yeah, you sort of still have like the base of those vines, and you can extend more out from them.
How many points of will would I need to make them like incredibly fast, like lightning fast, and very tough?
It depends. Incredibly fast and very tough would be 2 points of will. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could do that. I could do that, and I can afford to do that, I think.
All right, your vines like explode outward from where they were previously underneath him, and they sort of, I guess, like lash up at both Mortimers as they're rising from the ground. Um, Albatross, what are you doing?
Hmm. I suppose in this situation, I will just be preparing another arrow to fire.
All right,
at
so
them.
you're like drawing back your bow, like
Yeah.
all the way. You're
Yeah.
lining it up. The vines lash out and they pass straight through both Mortimers, which dissipate in the air. And it turns out that the real Mortimer is hovering about 30 feet up in the center of the atrium.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, he used the good old-fashioned 2 mirror images, and the third one's invisible.
Oh,
That trick always works.
Hmm.
So, Illyria, what are you going to do with your vines once they sort of, like, pass through these 2 images? Because they're still active.
If they're still active, I would like them to turn. They still have the same potency to them, right?
Yep.
Super tough, super fast.
Yes, but no element of surprise.
I understand that. Well, I would like them to turn into something else because that is the nature of my shadow magic.
Sure.
And I would like them to turn into like these mutated fucking hyper sparrows that are hopefully just going to like fly at him and like circle him very fast. And I mean like a lot of tiny ones.
Yeah.
So that he gets like pierced a lot, hopefully. Because they're just gonna fly in circles and just fly through him.
Sure. Yeah, you summon the vines just sort of like explode into hundreds of sparrows, which swarm up at him and surround him, and they just start like tearing into his flesh. All of you feel almost the effect of like reverse gravity as everything starts to shake and vibrate, and you get pins and needles in all of your body. You realize that Mortimer is attempting to finish his ritual. What do you guys do?
Question. So sorry. Are these stairways?
Yeah, looks like they are.
How far into the air is he? Can you like draw him more or less where he is?
He's like 30 feet up. So he's
Like
like
here?
halfway up. No,
Okay, no.
halfway.
Here?
Yeah,
More or less?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna just complete bloodlust and run upwards the stairs, like see if I can match him or go one level higher than him, like run up the stairs.
Okay, yeah, you start running up the stairs. How much
And
will
while
you
he
spend
runs-
into on that?
Do I need to spend anything? I'm just running up the stairs.
I mean, if
I'm
you're
at
trying to
one.
run up the stairs real quick, yeah, you're gonna have to spend well.
I have level 3 athletics, or level
Yeah.
2, sorry. Do I need to spend it? No. I'm just gonna go as fast as I can, because I'm gonna need my will, believe me.
Okay, alright, so you're running as fast as you can, but you're not spending any will. So it's gonna take you about 15 seconds to run up to the top of those stairs.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The damage that my birds did, because you
Yeah.
said that they were tearing into his flesh, did that count as a 13? Did that count as a deadly wound?
No, that was a surface wound.
All right. Keeping them around then. Keeping my
Um,
sparrows around.
Albatross, what are you doing?
is my arrow fully knocked right now?
Yeah?
I fire it and
Okay.
use my control over it to kind of disperse it into multiple smaller ones,
Uh-huh.
like lightning bolts, and try and just kind of stun him a little bit instead of go for like a big blow.
Alright, so you sort of blast him with an array of lightning bolts, and it like the bolts fly in between the sparrows and like pierce through him, and start to electrocute him again. He takes another surface wound.
How much is he left? Does he have left?
Has 1 serious health level.
Okay.
Or tough health level.
Okay. Have I made it to him?
Yeah, you reach the floor that you're on, and you sort of peek the top of the stairs.
Okay. Whew. Take a running leap straight at him.
Alright, you take a running leap straight at him.
Do I get any will points for that? Because, you know, I
What
live to
bonds?
fight and I don't give up. They both level 2.
Sure, I'll give you 4 will points back.
Oh!
Putting you at 8.
Time to go home.
Oh!
Go ahead.
Woo! Okay. Like me there, I'm gonna throw the marble thing at him.
Okay.
Does he take it to the face? Take it on the chin, basically?
Yeah, he just takes this marble and explodes, and there's like a spurt of sparrows that like fly off and then just go like whoop, and they just like bolt back in and continue tearing at him.
Okay. Can I grab onto him?
In the air, yeah, so you jump off the balcony and like grab onto his leg, I guess.
Have
After
you ever
throwing
heard
this
of a
marble.
lover suicide move?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Basically, you see it in every game with a ninja. The idea is that you grab onto the other guy and his
Yeah.
head is above yours and you pile drive him into the floor. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to grab him and
Yeah.
like use the the lance as sort of a jet
Okay.
and push him into the ground,
Yeah.
like push him downwards.
Okay.
Is this like I'm gonna use? I have level 4 pyromancy to use as a jet. I'm gonna to put 2 more points to really. I'm gonna fucking jet us into the ground.
So how many points of will are you spending?
2. I'm gonna use more.
All right. So yeah, you jump onto it, or you throw the last marble. It explodes. Sparrows spray out, and then like charge back in, dive back in. You grab his feet, and your spear like erupts in flame behind you, and like shoots you around in a circle, turning him upside down. And then like you sort of grab your spear with his leg, and like jet directly downwards into the ground.
Okay. As we approach the ground,
Mhm.
like when we're really like, I say like about here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like 10 feet off the ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna do sort of a somersault and slam him into the ground, while at
Okay.
the same time aiming the spear at his heart. Do I need to use anything for that?
You can spend as much will as you would like.
I'm gonna spend 2 more because that's just a setup.
All right, you spend 2 more points of will, and so as you start to drop, you do a somersault in the air. The fire from your lance streaks behind you, and you slam him into the ground with your spear directly above his heart.
Do I pierce him?
Yeah.
Whew. Time for the big finisher. Feel free to add in whatever the hell you want.
All right, tell me what happens, man.
Omae wa mo shindeiru! I'm gonna use the level 9. I'm gonna use all my magic
Okay.
and basically do the biggest fucking nuke I can
Yeah.
straight inside of him.
Okay. You just unleash a gout of fire from your spear, and like, I guess so. Like you're just like holding the shaft and pointing it straight down, and the spear like smokes for a second and then just explodes with a spray of fire everywhere. Sweet background music starts to play as like fire blasts outward and like just goes flying past Illyria and Albatross, who both like make little shields, one of wind and one of shadow. The fire blasts outward. It incinerates completely, like covers the inside of the hotel with blackened char. Every single body is completely destroyed. If they weren't dead before, they're dead as shit now. And it blasts the fire outward. You do a deadly injury to him, which, because he has no more divine health levels, takes off his serious health level. And, like, as this fire spreads out, the bolts of lightning and the sparrows, like, meet up and just, like, blast down into him as well, screaming around and past Dio and sort of just completely, like, grinding his body into dust to do the final 2 levels of surface wounds to him. Mortimer Reed is completely dead. However, due to the massive amount of miraculous power that was used, and because every single body and person inside the hotel was dead, you have activated his ritual. You have released the souls of over 100 mortal magic users. The question is, what's going to happen? And as you sort of realize, like, the world starts to shift on a fundamental level. It's the same sort of miracle that you see it described in Genesis in the Bible, right? Like, words have been spoken to bring something into creation, to change the fabric of the universe, to change the ontology of the universe, right? Like, there's a new category of things being born on this day. Streaking across the sky is an emerald serpent, and it begins to fill the hall of the atrium. It's Henry in his primordial serpent form, his Adam serpent form.
I thought he was going to be the cab driver for a second.
No, he's in Quebec.
So continue.
And so all 10 miles of this incredibly thin emerald serpent fill the atrium above you. And I don't think you've ever actually spoken to Henry in his serpent, or Henry has ever spoken to you in his serpent form, but, like, his voice, like, booms inside your skull. And you feel the full weight of his imperial majesty. He speaks and says that you have punished the rogue noble Mortimer, and in doing so you have pleased me greatly. However, as a consequence of your actions, the words of creation have been spoken on this day, and his ritual has been completed. This energy must go somewhere. So the question is, what will you do with it? Will you become nobles yourselves and take Mortimer's place as the master of magic, or some other noble's place? Will you create your own chancel? Or will you do something else? What will you do with all of this power?
Can we do anything without killing the city, basically?
Yeah. Yeah, if you just become... basically, you have the souls of over 100 magic users just sort of, like, in the room. And you can channel them any way you like.
Okay, so guys,
I'm looking exhausted at my team. Like I've
yeah,
done
you're
my
also
part.
on the edge of passing out.
Exactly. I'm basically like leaning on the spear. Like,
guys, I think I have something perfect planned to do with this.
If you say women in bikinis, use whatever energy
of peace and prosperity to Quebec.
It's already happening.
It's already happening because of
yeah.
So basically, we have the power to independently do anything with these souls.
I guess we could all become nobles.
You have an imperial miracle at your disposal.
Could we all become nobles, or only one of us?
All of you.
I mean, everyone we knew died, so I mean, why not, guys?
If you guys knew my backstory, you would give it to me in a heartbeat. Ah, shit.
No, that's okay. I think Albatross wants to become the new noble of love. I mean, it's only fitting.
Or how about give it to me and I become the noble of saving the world?
I mean, you
From
can.
a force you do not
You
know.
can become
Well,
that as well. There's
well,
enough to go around.
I'm gonna do something completely in my character.
Yeah.
I'm basically on my knees, half dead, right on the floor in
Yeah,
front of
yeah, yeah.
Henry. I'm pointing at a place in the wall where a woman's body used to be,
Yeah.
and I whisper, "Save her."
That doesn't sound like
Not at all.
Why would you?
Uh,
Why would you only?
Remember
Say,
what I said from the beginning? I was here looking for someone.
oh my goodness.
That's fucking
whatever.
awesome. Yeah.
Whatever.
Henry the Adam Serpent looks at you and he says, "It shall be done. I shall speak the words of creation and finalize this imperial miracle." And the nature of the world change, the rules in which the world works change. And essentially what happens is Henry takes all this power and he
We
speaks
basically
the way
used the
that
Dragon Balls. Sorry.
no, because this fucks shit up. The Dragon Balls don't fuck shit
Okay.
up.
Okay.
He
Dragon Balls
speaks
are all
the
like-
way that the world will be, and the Earth, the universe, existence changes to become that. So the question is,
What happened?
what does the world change into?
Is that like? Do we
That's I'm
decide
asking
that?
you. Yeah. Well, it's your miracle.
Do we each get a miracle, or did I basically just
You
hijack the
hugged it.
miracle?
No, you just totally
hugged it.
fucking hijacked
You
it.
hugged it. I hate you.
I just wanted to be the noble of love.
In my defense, that is completely in character.
Yeah, Dio would totally do that.
I and as Kret, I'm gonna be a goody goody two shoes on the next time. So
Yeah, he is. His next character's lawful good, so don't worry.
I don't care. It's too late.
I'm I'm taking the full asshole now. As far as like, is it like whatever I'm imagining when I say that is the thing that happens?
Yes. Well, no, those are the words that are spoken. But they're spoken in, like, the language of creation.
Okay, sorry, you're gonna have to explain this as if I'm really stupid, because I am. He says, "Your will shall be done," and then I have to utter the things that I want to
No,
happen.
no.
Okay.
He abstracts from your mind what you want, and then utters the words to make it so. Speaking the language of creation. But the question is, what is it that Dio wants? That's the question. Because that
Okay,
decides
Dio-
what happens.
Okay, Dio was thinking of going back to where he was 5 years ago with that
Alright.
woman, like an island in the middle of, like not an island, but a place in the middle of buttfuck nowhere,
Yeah.
just traveling. And when she was kidnapped,
Okay.
like she disappeared out of nowhere. So that's what he's basically thinking, going back to that life with her.
Alright, so the world shifts. The past 5 years continue as they were, except every trace of Dio has been erased. He is not there. And at that point, you find yourself in the same place on the same day. It is still today, but you're on this island with that woman. You realize that she is the power of lost love, and you are the power of passion. And you realize that though you are with this woman today, you cannot be with her because it is not in her nature to be with anyone. She will always be lost.
God damn. Yeah.
Hey, I'm staying in character. I stayed in character through the entire thing.
I just wanted to be the
Okay,
noble of love.
there is a tear down Dio's face. Probably the only time you're ever gonna see that.
Yeah. Well, nobody else will see it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time anywhere on the world anyone will ever see that.
Yeah.
And can he talk to her? Like she's
Yeah,
within
yeah,
grasp.
yeah. He can talk to her, yeah.
And like there is a mixture of horrible, hateful, like curse
Mhm.
feeling, you know, but at the same time like of freedom and lifting. And he whispers the words, "I said I'd get you back."
And she just looks him in the eye and says,
No.
"What I am is loss. You have had me the entire time." And then she's gone because she's lost love and she's
Exactly.
not anywhere.
What
So
are
Is
we
there any
doing?
continuation to this?
Back in the back in the hotel, Dio is no longer there. Albatross and Illyria do remember him and remember that he existed and he caused all of these things, but they know that that no longer happened. You are in this room. Mortimer has been killed. And up above, Henry the Atom Serpent looks down on you and he says, "A great many have died. An imperial miracle has been created, but it has not been finished. It must be spoken into creation. What words will you speak?" And he looks at Albatross and Lyria.
I honestly have no idea what the extent of this power is.
It is literally anything.
Whatever you want.
It is the level of miracle that changes the way the world works. It defines the way the world works.
I think it's time for Albatross to reach his final form
Yeah.
and become a noble, but not of magic or of like power, but just of love. You know, because that's what he specializes in.
Isn't that me though? No.
No, you're passionate.
It's passion.
Your passion
Oh, okay,
and
okay,
love. We're like best friends.
Actually, really more like enemies.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I understand.
Rivals.
Or respect, like sort of like Vegeta and Goku in the later seasons.
Yeah.
I guess you're Vegeta, so that makes me Goku.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever helps you sleep at night.
Well, no, you're
um,
the one. You're the one.
Albatross becomes love. He realizes that he is wanted everywhere, but still fundamentally unknowable and unplaceable, impossible to understand. He is something that everyone attempts to gain, and everyone knows when they see it, but they don't know how to they don't ever understand it. No one can ever understand you. And you realize that this is a fundamental part of your nature. You are found in the hearts of almost everyone, except for a select few. Yeah, you are the noble of love. And I guess Henry looks at Illyria and says, "What of you?"
What of me?
The miracle
want
has
to-
not yet been finished.
What was your quest? What do you want?
I want power to defeat a rogue nation beyond ours, with which my family made a pact years, many, many centuries ago, and they are planning some pretty nasty stuff. So basically, since my shadow magic is magic as well, the only counterable way is, I guess, I would become what Mortimer once was in his good days, and I want to be the noble of magic and miracles.
Alright, you become the noble of mortal magic. You are beyond human. You are the master of all magic on Earth. No magic user can challenge you. But you are still mortal. You have to be in order to channel your magic. And so you are in this awkward state between true nobility and mortality, and that is the fundamental problem of your being. And it's also, I mean, it's really, it's suffering. on a very deep level, in that, like, by your nature as a noble, you are something other, but you can never truly be other, because as the noble of mortal magic, you must be mortal. You're something that only exists within mortals. With probably with just a wave of your hand, you resolve whatever was happening in that country. You have that power now. You can just, you could do it in thousands of ways. But yeah, you become what Mortimer was, and you realize that maybe having your own chancel would somehow satisfy that fundamental flaw in your being. And so you set out to create your own chancel. As the master of mortal magic. End scene. Alright.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Are you crying?
No.
Okay.
No tears here. Not at all. No.
So, that was awesome. Thanks. I guess, just to wrap it up, everyone playing, and I guess everyone in chat who's interested, I'll answer one question with complete honesty. Like, what happened with this? Or like, how did Bang end up captured by, Mortimer, or like whatever. Anything you ask, I'll answer 100% truthfully. So that goes for everyone in chat and everyone playing.
Okay. Not necessarily like what you're thinking about, but the tweet you made, was it about the plot that Mortimer had been Julian all along?
Yeah, dude, that was so fucking good. I was like, fuck!
I saw your face. I saw that in your face.
What did I think of that?
No, I saw his face when you said it. When you said the plot twist, like when you were like listing out the options of what it could possibly. I saw Cret's face. Yeah.
Damn it!
No, but what I went for instead was that Julian did actually have noble intentions. He was just sort of like a sketchy dick, and so he was attempting to do a ritual to like to somehow combat Mortimer, but Mortimer was just like, oh look, someone is using magic against me, and then he was just like, and he just popped like everyone, and then I was like, wait a second, I can use them, and so he just scooped them up, and yeah.
That's what I figured from the point on where like they were all dead.
Yeah.
Like when we found Julian's body,
Well,
in
actually,
the circle. Yeah.
Half of them were sacrificed by Julian to fuel his spell.
That's something you would do.
Yeah, he is. He's a dick. Yeah.
Okay, question.
I was so seeing it though when you talked about the plot twist about Julian being Mortimer. I totally saw it. Like I was like, the signs are all there.
Do you also know why I was thinking about that? I've been reading this fucking book.
Oh,
That
I'm so
happens a lot.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Actually, the book itself, when it's actually telling the story, it's fine. The parts that suck is when it goes into
When
5
it's
pages
hiking.
of... No, yeah, basically like family genealogy hiking, and there was this guy that was son of this guy who had 7 kids, and they were named this, and they had 20 kids, and holy shit, I don't care!
That's why you can never play a Lord of the Rings RPG, because there's going to be someone who knows all that.
Now I do!
Yeah.
Now I can't unknow it. But yes. On a completely unrelated note, how much fun did you have doing this?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It ended up, I think, differently than I originally envisioned, which was fine. Partially because, like, it's really hard to run a mystery role-playing game. Like, it's really hard to do that in any sort of organic way, really. You have to write some sort of mystery novel plot and then, like, you know, do all the clues, and your players are gonna like fuck it up or not see what they're supposed to see. So,
okay, that's
you sort
my
of
question.
have to like, yeah, it's a very difficult genre to run, and I wouldn't try and do that again. but mostly what I wanted to do I accomplished is because I think the Noblest system is an incredibly cinematic and fascinating system, and the way that people act in the game, and it's just a great organic way to have characters if you don't need the randomness and sort of inherent balance of dice. And
Well, I
think
guess-
that was accomplished.
I guess it lets you tell the story you want to tell.
Yes,
Even
it's
if
very
you
much a
need-
storytelling game.
Yeah. Even if you need to railroad shit or like,
Yeah.
which gives you that opportunity. When we're playing D&D, that's not gonna happen because I'm gonna say
Yeah.
I'm gonna want to do something really cool, but I'm gonna get a 1, and there goes my character down the pit. Or
Yeah.
instead of punching someone in the nuts, he's gonna fondle them gently. That's gonna be awkward.
And so part of it is just the way that you write characters, and the way that I write characters behind the scenes, right? Like, one of the rules of Dio, from my perspective, that was basically any physical altercation, he wins.
Hmm.
So, like, if he is fighting somebody, he basically just wins, which is an interesting rule, and I just also was very careful to not actually show you that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you would have just exploited that, of course. But yeah, that
Of
was
course,
like,
if
sort of the rule of the character.
if you tell someone that he has a rule like that, he's gonna go,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's a giant, building-sized dragon. I'm just gonna
punch it."
punch it. I don't care." Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Albatross. Any questions?
Question. Do you think you will do your spin-off series now?
Yeah. So basically, like, this was a low power version of Nobilis. Eventually, you got
Yeah.
miracle powers, but like we totally didn't do miraculous combat the way they do. I mean, we used the combat rules, which are really great abstract diceless rules, but like we didn't do Octoritas Magister or different miracles or anything like that. You guys kind of just like spent will and did whatever. I want to run Nobilis, but you have to like. It's a really hard game to play for the players and like. Because it's basically about gods playing politics. That's kind
I
of
like
what it
Yeah,
is.
I got that feeling. Yeah, even
Which-
from like a powered down
I want to play
version of
Dune
it.
the game with magical powers.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Like, you're just like, yeah, I'm passion, and I want to expand my territory. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to destroy Scorn or something. And so you're gonna, like, plot the downfall of Scorn so that you can absorb his...
Oh
like,
man, if I knew that, I would have actually twisted my character around and seeing my dead lover or my dead love
Yeah.
or whatever, I would have become the Lord of Hatred or the Noble of Hatred or something like that. I would have become the new fucking Sauron.
Oh my god, that would have been sick. Alright, Arena, do you have a question?
I have a couple actually.
Okay.
Potentially more than a couple. Okay, can you tell me the clue, the most blatant clue, which you think it was a blatant clue that we missed, like most notably?
You guys just, like, completely avoided the police. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I set it up and I was like, there are all these factions. There's the Order of Magi and the Chaots and the Disciples of Reed and the NYPD. And, like, I think the idea that the NYPD just has, like, a magical investigation bureau that I showed you has, like, a warehouse in an alternate, like, reality bubble. And you're just like, yeah, let's just avoid the police. Like,
Here's the thing. Okay, I'll totally explain what was going on my mind on that one.
Yeah.
It was like, alright, so we went from everything is very real
Yeah.
and we have a little bit of magic to holy shit, LSD, what the shit's going on?
yeah.
So I just assumed that there was this entire other world that was completely mentally fucked up
Yeah.
and like magic and shit. So like, yeah, the police has a magical department. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? But they didn't seem to know anything else anymore than anybody else. So
Yeah.
I just we went to find the magical snake eventually, I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked it in chat. I don't know if you saw it, but you're gonna answer it, and I'm gonna answer it too
Sure.
because it's on my mind. But he basically asked, "What would you change?"
My starting party wouldn't have had 4 fucking pyromancers in it. And it was like, yeah, I use fire. And I was like, word, that's cool. And then, like, the next person was like, I use fire. And I was like, guys.
Hey,
In my
I
defense-
barely used fire in my defense.
That's true.
Yeah,
You're
that's
just like, I'm an elementalist. I use everything but fire.
But originally you were going to have fire you're going to for everything including fire.
Yeah.
People was like, "Oh, fire, so amazing!" So I'm
Yeah,
like, "Fine, I'll take an electric bow."
But I mean,
In my defense, I think I was one of the first to do the character, wasn't I?
and you were also like, you were like the purest of them. You were just like, yeah, I just control fire. I was like, yeah, that's easy. It just, the characters didn't like differentiate enough, I guess.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know. I think I could have done a better job of finding a way to have different kinds of encounters in the game, and like played more with the fact that I think is really cool that like New York City is split between these different factions, and like I guess that was also something that as players you sort of avoided, where it's like, look, there are all these different factions in New York City fighting for territory, and you guys were just like, what's Jason up to?
Because Jason is a really shifty character, and at
Yeah.
that point in time we had no idea who the fuck we could trust.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I just
Okay.
like going to Jason because it meant we were going to the club. If I'm gonna be honest.
He does.
And Jason was like our only source of anything for
Yeah.
like the
Basically.
longest time. And then we got Henry, and Henry was talking about I'm still like the VCR lady still haunts me.
Yeah.
That whole speech, and I was like, I am not asking this dude a question ever
That's
again.
also
I'm telling you that, man.
from the book, by the way. Like that's just straight up out of Nobilis. It's really creepy. Hold on, let me find it. In the blinking 12 a.m. of an unset clock is the colon that are Saint Angela's eyes. If you would do unpleasant things, you had best avoid those eyes. Though she is bound to leave human free will intact, she has no compunction against physically scourging the unrighteous. Pro tip,
Jeez.
Saint Angela rarely acts on what she sees, but she never objects to being shown. If you need a quantum observer or an unbiased witness to something, or you think someone's going to do something unrighteous to you in front of your TV, try cycling the power on your VCR. Saint Angela of the Flail.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You said that there were all these factions and everything,
Uh-huh.
but when I was playing, at least with the information that we had in game, and again, I'd never read those books or anything.
Yeah.
I had the idea there were legitimately three factions, like the Coyotes, the Mortimer dickheads, and the guys that were with Julian that were wiped out.
Yeah, and that's just sort of, I guess I didn't explain the fact that the police were doing things, but they also, the police just were kind of incompetent.
Yeah,
generally.
I think I realized that there were more people, but they never came across as legitimate factions, you know?
Yeah,
More
yeah,
like
yeah.
random people that are also there. You don't call a random dude a faction, you know?
Mhm.
Like in that sense. So like I
We
didn't
were
never
our own
got a.
faction.
Well, I was never aware of the other faction, so to speak.
Yeah, totally. Any other questions from? Could they have picked a side with the NYPD and that changed the outcome? Yeah, totally. The NYPD like would basically have just like done most of the investigating for you guys and just been like, "Hey, go here and bring us this thing, and then we'll look at it." And then like, yeah,
How would we even have done that though? Like we
you
tried
guys
to
talked to the
cooperate with them.
NYPD officer.
Yeah.
You
They
could have
were
just
used to it.
engaged him more and like gone
Yeah,
back
they
to
were
him, though.
like, they were so untrusting and so cold and stuff, and like,
Well, yeah,
No.
I mean, they're the cops, and you're a bunch of rogue assholes. Like, that was
Hey,
sort of like,
A couple. There's like that one girl who I hit it off with, but other than that, I didn't like the cops.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that was sort of by design. And that, like, the cops were actually almost too useful to be obviously good faction.
Well, screw the cops.
Yeah.
fuck the police.
Like I said in chat, fuck the police straight from the underground.
All right, any last
And-
questions before we wrap up, guys?
Whitest person to ever utter those words. I just for the record.
Yeah.
If you didn't-
Hey, I have 2 half-black nephews. Okay, street cred.
No,
Regret.
no,
It's not
don't
that
go
bad.
there, please.
you couldn't be any whiter if you were playing golf and drinking tea.
No.
Wow.
I know.
That's not white. That's not white. That's
All right,
English.
um,
Although tea is pretty good.
Okay. one last question, if nobody else has. Anybody else has any questions? Because I talked a lot
No,
throughout this whole
but
fucking thing.
I will say the one thing I would have changed. I was on the fence on whether I should like fulfill my purpose and become like basically the noble of mortal magic, or if I should just give Dio his love back.
Yeah.
But then I realized my character wouldn't really have knowledge of what happened
Yeah.
because he basically just disappeared from sight.
Well, it's also that Dio was just like, yay! And then she was like,
No.
except
Nope.
it's in my nature that we'll never be together. And he was like, fuck!
But at the same time, okay. From what I understood, like
Yeah.
from my character's perspective, like it was horrible and amazing at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it was horrible that we couldn't be together, but at the same time, he saved her,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
might
it was bittersweet. Yeah.
He might eventually move on, but he will always know that she's safe and
Sure.
back in the world.
I think I have a good analogy for it. She texted him saying her parents weren't home, and he was like, "Great, I'm coming over." And she's like, "But I'm on my period." That's pretty much what happened.
Oh.
Damn it, Albatross.
Way to ruin the romantic fucking
It
ending.
was so romantic.
know,
and then,
right?
God.
Like, it was so beautiful and poetic and bittersweet, and then he just,
And then you just bring
oh,
Netflix
no.
in here.
Exactly, Captain Netflix and chill. Like,
My parents aren't home, but I don't have a Netflix subscription. No!
Oh my
But
god.
I only have to show me.
I
Man.
only have DVDs. Okay, I was gonna ask the question then.
Yeah.
How much of this did you have planned from the beginning, and how much of it did you script along with where we were going? Like, yeah.
I sort of did it project by project. So, like,
Okay.
on the project sheet, I started off and it was like, there's the Hudson River kidnappings, and there are these different areas, and these different people got kidnapped, and I sort of rolled them randomly, and it was like, all these victims are magical. And, like, then you guys did that, and you went to investigate magic in New York, and I was like, okay, well, there's Mortimer Reed, and there's different factions, and, you're learning that, like, Jason is, like, incredibly powerful. And eventually you realize that, like, Mortimer Reed is, like, this dude, and he's, like, doing bad shit. And then so you learn about them, and that's where, like, we basically jumped the shark. You're like, let's learn about nobles. And I was like, well, okay, I guess if you really want to. And so we did that, and then you just sort of stumbled into Henry's world at some point. And I was like, well, yeah, Henry's world would totally have something that can craft artifacts. And then you guys, like, sort of learned how. And I was like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
that
my money-
did feel really ad-lib. Like, even for, like, that one part, it was incredibly fun making weapons, but I could feel the ad-lib.
Yeah, totally.
But for my money, it was really cool. And
Yeah.
thank you for doing all of this, by the way. I
Yeah,
haven't said
it was a
before.
pleasure. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. So there's a
It's my
possibility
first
that
time.
we'll run season 2, which is going to be full Nobilis, which you
Boy.
basically have to have a PhD in theoretical philosophy to play, because it's
Well.
insane. But so
Too
that's
bad
something
I'm
that
only
might
11 then.
that we might
Sorry?
run.
I said, too bad I'm only a teenager. Guess I won't understand it. Rip me.
It's crazy. Like, it's so cool, but it's crazy. So maybe we'll run Nobilis. I'm definitely running D&D. I won't be able to stream it, because the DM perspective would be like, you'd walk into a room and be like, I'd be like, you walk into a room, the walls are cold and dark, and then you'd look at my stream and it would just be like, trap, 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 trap. You'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna step
I'll
on
just
those.
watch your stream.
I opened that door. Which one? The one without a trap in it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not gonna be streamed, but anyone can join. Just hit me up on Twitter if you guys are interested.
We might actually manage to stream it if any of the players themselves
Yes, that's
can manage
possible.
to stream it.
I
Yeah.
would stream if I actually had good internet or
And
compute.
also, other people can dungeon master it if anyone's interested, because it basically everything is randomly generated, and like there's a flowchart that's like the way the dungeons are connected, and like that's it. So anyone can jump in and DM whenever. Podcast it. Yeah, I could do an audio recording.
I guess maybe you could do something else. Maybe you can
You
record
can
it on.
caption something else in OBS. Like you don't have to. I mean, I guess like the exciting stuff is you have to show
The
the
problem
screen
is that
before.
like we're using the advanced features of Roll20, so it's really visually appealing, which is the
Is that-
problem.
No, here's the thing, right? My suggestion is if you, I made a suggestion originally that you made an extra player that was just a spectator that was
Yeah.
just walking around. But if that doesn't work, something else you could do is to record it from your perspective, but don't stream it at the time. Just put it on YouTube afterwards.
Well, but even then, it would be like watching. I don't know if that would be interesting because you're watching it and it's like the player's walking the room, and then it would just be covered in traps, and like as a spectator, you're just like, I don't
Well,
know.
this
Yeah, but isn't that interesting as a spectator?
That
Because
maybe
like
could
you're,
be interesting, yeah.
because you're watching the guy go like, I want to open this door, and you're like, there's a trap behind it.
No,
Well-
I don't think I want to do that because I don't want to ever
Okay.
actually show the GM view of the map. Is the other thing.
Oh, okay.
Right, because
That
like
will-
from the GM perspective, you can see everything, and the players have line of sight, so it's a very different
Okay,
perspective.
okay.
So maybe a player will stream it. I don't know.
If you
Okay.
guys buy me a computer and get me Google Fiber, I will stream it. Please
And,
chat. If you want to stream, buy me a computer.
Your powers no longer work with the ladies, by the way.
No, now they work with everyone. You're right. Thanks.
Actually, they do. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but they're no longer like seduction, one night fucking stand kind of stuff. Like
Yeah, that's
just
true.
I never. Hey,
they actually fall in love
technically, I
with
never
you.
had a one night stand. Technically, I never had a one night stand.
You're 12, of course not.
Damn, damn.
Um,
Right in the Canadian field, man.
boys, out of preschool,
Shots.
boys.
Okay.
Gosh, almost out of preschool.
Alright guys, so if anyone doesn't have any other questions, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching, I hope you
Alright.
enjoyed it. If you want to play D&D, message me on Twitter, we got spaced. Sessions are Wednesday at 10, Thursday at 5, and probably also Friday at 2. Yeah, I'll do Friday as well. So that's all Eastern Standard Time. That's our show. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.